My goal with trading, I mentioned earlier that when I take a trade, I know where I'm getting out if I'm wrong, but I don't know where I'm getting out if I'm right, because markets are very inherently, there's a lot of craziness, there's a lot of unexpected, and there's too many variables to try and perfectly predict what's going to happen next all the time.
Nick, let's talk a little bit about FX world, geopolitics. I'm just curious. We've had obviously, hopefully, maybe some positive news today. Certainly, my I call it facetiously, the war trade is long oil, long gold. That got very badly hurt. Although it's actually trading a little bit better in the they're kind of quiet in the post market ways. Euro Swiss, which is the currency version of the war trade. In other words, when we get peace, that pair really skyrockets, and we get war sentiment, it really comes down. I was long that they just blew up today, and ran through. What's your how do you read the whole geopolitical situation relative to the FX market right now?
Yeah, so I kind of when I think of trades to come up with, I try and do as little sort of forward prediction as I possibly can. My goal with trading, I mentioned earlier that when I take a trade, I know where I'm getting out if I'm wrong, but I don't know where I'm getting out if I'm right, because markets are very inherently, there's a lot of craziness, there's a lot of unexpected, and there's too many variables to try and perfectly predict what's going to happen next all the time. Now, when it comes to the war trade, when it comes to the situation with commodities, those started rocketing higher. And if maybe we share my screen for a second here, I can show you a little bit about gold. So for me, with gold, just starting on the daily chart, just simple concept. I was long on gold all the way. I'm not going to say I played it perfectly, but I caught two different trades on gold. One at 1849, which I believe was right around, it was the first time I got it, was right around 1840, 1850. So it was literally just the break and retest right here. So momentum was making a move. The headlines were super, super scary for the sentiment. And for me, call it silly, call it simple-minded. I just go with the flow. If the news headlines are big and scary and likely to have lasting effects for days and weeks to come, I'm looking to go with the flow. And so for me, gold was a buy trade for a good couple weeks there. I took two different trades. One
can you run us through, was that the first trade you took? So what was the anatomy of that trade? Like, you took it on the red candle, you took it on the green candle?
Yep, took it on a red candle. And if we zoom in a little bit on the 4-hour chart, let me just see if I can clean this up for you. So 1849 was the spot for me. So it was off of these candles. We had a big impulsive move to the upside. And there was this, I don't know if we can remember exactly what was happening. It seems like it's moved so fast. But during this little pullback, what happened with the situation, this was the point in time right around where there was rumors that Russia perhaps was pulling some troops from the border and they were rotating off, and we saw this little pullback, and I actually bought it. And that sounded a little bit crazy, but I was like, you know what, I still think that there's going to be lasting effects. They didn't move all those troops just to pull them away right away, and I'm trying to do as little prediction as possible. There's a little bit in there, but my thought process is, things are very fearful, and this pullback to me is an opportunity to try and go long. I took it right around this area on the long side, and sure enough, news came out that was false, that it actually was not. There were just rotations of military stuff, and it rocketed from there. So I took that trade, I rode that one up, and then you can kind of anticipate just my process with, I was long here, trailing the stop, following it along. I think I had my stop below here and got tagged out on this. So looked a little bit silly in hindsight, but this pullback here made some money off of this.
You can't. This is when you get into that kind of volatility moves like that, it's impossible to stay in. I was actually scale up short. I was short 1950, short 2000, short 2050, and took it all back. But
nice. Very
nice. Only because gold was essentially at pandemic highs, or pre-pandemic highs, and I thought it wasn't going to get through that level on the first time. What do you think now? I'm actually curious. Like it's really hard to read it. I am, I'm day trading it every day, just on just very, very small. I don't really have a vibe.
Yeah,
like I don't.
let's I want to maybe just pull this up for a second. Here's some COT data we could pull up on gold. I'm actually sort of right now a little bit on the hesitant side to be still bullish. Recently, we take a look at the non-commercial data. This is kind of zoomed in a little bit, and you can see there's been some positions being pulled off by institutional traders. And you know, your non-commercials, these your leverage funds, your hedge funds, your basically your speculators on the institutional side seem to have been pulling off a little bit of their longs. Now, this is not the only thing that I'm looking at, but it is a component to it. I'm looking at, you know, when there's increase in buying, that's a nice little extra catalyst to perhaps look at some long side action. Right now, a little bit of a pullback there on gold in terms of positioning. So that's a little bit concerning. And then, of course, with peace talks in Turkey today, you know, I think for me right now, gold is not necessarily something I want to short and jump in front of because, you know, gold can be crazy when it's got overall rising.
But it could be an 1850 pullback. That's what I'm saying. Like it's not it doesn't have that explosive power that it had before. You know, I want to make sure.